SSI $1,400 fourth stimulus check, supplemental security income. I have all the details and what you need to know right here in the video, so let's get right into it. All right, now first off, I'm making this video because I continue to get questions down below in the comments section asking what are the latest details on a fourth stimulus check? Are we getting something? When are we going to get something? Who is going to be included? And how much is it going to be? Now you might be wondering, why am I making this dedicated to SSI? That's a great question as well. Let me explain. Because I continue to get comments down below also saying, you never talk about SSI, you never talk about SSDI, you never talk about Social Security retirement, seniors, people with disabilities, or the low income. Well, let me clarify for just a second. In fact, almost all of my videos are directly focused around the low income, fixed income beneficiaries, and again, those individuals receiving benefits administered by the Social Security Administration. So even though in this video I'm saying SSI, to be real with you, everything I'm going to be talking about here in this video does pertain to all fixed income beneficiaries, all the benefits I just mentioned, and again, any of those benefits administered by the Social Security Administration, the low income, Social Security retirement, SSDI, survivors, SSI, VA, RRB. But again, I wanted to talk about it because I continue to see those questions. Therefore, let's focus on it and talk about all the details, where we currently stand, and what is going on with all of this, as requested by some of you down below in the comments section. So let's get right into it as we have a lot to talk about. However, really fast before we do, thank you so much for joining me. If you're new here or if you haven't done so yet, please make sure to subscribe by hitting the button right down below the video, as it's totally free to do so. And because I am your one and only daily advocate, I'm here for you right by your side each and every day, watching all this new information hitting the wire, doing the necessary research, and breaking it down into these short videos as things continue to change very, very rapidly right now. We got to continue watching everything going forward because it is all changing so incredibly fast. It's a very confusing, busy, and uncertain time. And again, we got to watch all this because new bills, packages, and proposals are coming out of Congress literally every single week. Therefore, a lot of this is going to impact the low income and fixed income. So we probably want to watch it very closely. Anyway, thanks again for watching. I truly do appreciate your support. Please subscribe down below and let's get into it and talk about the questions, the concerns, where we currently stand, and what I'm watching very closely right now. All right, so here's what it comes down to. There's a few different factors that are playing out right here, right now, that I want to point out for you. However, let me say this much as well. I apologize. I should have said this a minute or two ago. As of right now, but again, I think we all completely understand this. No, a fourth stimulus check in any dollar amount has not been approved yet, okay? I want to make that very clear so we're all on the same page here. However, we can talk about the latest details. There's nothing wrong with an update, and keep an eye on what is going on right now because there's a weird thing that's playing out right now. It is a weird situation, and again, all of this may result in the house of cards come crumbling on down. And then again, as a result of that, we might see more money flowing here, okay? Let me talk through the details. So again, I want to make this very clear. I don't want to turn this into a big economic lesson, but at the end of the day, we got to watch that because whether you believe it or not, and again, whether we want this to be true or not, it all comes down to the economy and the economic situation to determine the likelihood of another check, okay? So even though we're sitting here asking for one, we've been writing letters, we've been making phone calls, we've been writing emails, all kinds of things like this to lawmakers, asking the president, things like this for another check. When it comes down to it, to be fair with you, they don't really care, okay? They don't care about us asking. How many times have we asked them and things like that? And they've done nothing. But when it comes down to the economy, then they say, oh, okay, fine. I guess we can work up some checks, okay? That's why we got to watch all this stuff closely. All right, so what I wanted to point out for you really quickly is one key factor. Now, again, there's many more out there, but this one key factor is going to play a major role in the rest of all of the parts here that I want to point out for you, okay? So it's like a big machine, okay? Or like an engine, for example. Now, again, I'm going to be very clear here. I am not an expert on engines or machines and stuff like that. I'm not a mechanic. I'm not an engineer, nothing like that. I am not an expert by any means, but I have a basic understanding, okay? It's like an engine, okay? We could all say, what is the most important part of an engine? Honestly, I don't know. I really don't know, okay? But in my best guess, I would say something maybe along the lines of like the pistons or something. I'm not really sure, okay? I literally have no clue. I'm just saying something very essential. This one aspect that I want to talk about here in a second is like it's likened to maybe like a piston in an engine, right? Very, very important. Without it, you can't really do a whole lot. I would anticipate. Again, not an expert. I'm just guessing here, okay? But all of the other pieces of the machine or the engine run around this one central point, right? the Pistons in this example that I'm giving. So with that being said, let me talk about the details. The Federal Reserve, okay? I've talked about this many, many times here over the last several months here because they continuously come out. The chairman of the Federal Reserve is testifying, has been out talking in press conferences, has been coming out talking about all these details. And again, we got to watch him very closely, okay? Now, again, you might be wondering, what does this have to do with a check coming to all of us? Well, you'll see all that here in a second. All of this will come full circle. I'll try to wrap this all up here kind of quickly, but I want to make this all very clear here so we can understand the details and the importance behind the chairman of the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell, as well as the Federal Reserve. All right, so what the Federal Reserve is doing, and they've made this very, very clear, they will continue to aggressively raise interest rates. Okay, now again, why do we care about this? Let me explain it further. So the Federal Reserve is raising interest rates. This is going to put the clamps on essentially all of the other pieces of the economy. The job market, it is going to impact that very severely because as the Federal Reserve continues to raise interest rates, it's going to cost businesses, large, medium, and small, and very large businesses, it's going to cost them more money because all of these businesses, we might look at them and think, oh, they have tons of money. Yeah, they might have tons of money, but guess what? They also have tons and tons and tons of debt. You might not think that with a big company. You might be thinking, no, companies don't have any debt. You kidding me? They have more debt than they have in cash. They have tons of debt. Almost all companies have tons of debt. That's how they got to be so big, is they leverage through debt, okay? What does this mean? It simply means that the Federal Reserve is raising interest rates, making it more expensive to borrow money, making it more expensive to hold all that debt. The point is, these large companies, big, medium, or small, doesn't matter the size, they're going to cut back on a lot of different things. Spending, they're going to cut back on payrolls, they're going to cut back on borrowing money, they're going to cut back on expanding, they're going to cut back on all kinds of different things. Is that going to play a role in the economy? Oh yeah, it's going to play a huge role in the economy. As we continue to see all of these companies across the entire country here, and realistically across the globe here, cutting back on spending, cutting back on hiring, eliminating payroll, and all kinds of things like this, it's going to have a major, major impact on the economy. It's a slow process, but eventually all of this will come into fruition, as in all of this is going to hit the economy eventually, okay? I know it's been kind of slow so far, but eventually all of this is going to hit the economy. So as a result of this, we've been seeing for many, many months now, large corporations, medium-sized corporations, businesses of all sizes, laying off hundreds, thousands, even tens of thousands of people all at one time. Again, not very good, okay? All of these people need to go somewhere. The point of all this is all of this is being predicated by the actions out of the Federal Reserve, okay? So that's number one. It's going to impact interest rates. Businesses will, cut back on a lot of things like I just explained. Next, this is also going to directly impact the unemployment rate in the United States. In other words, how many people are employed, or how many people are more like unemployed, and how many people are looking for jobs out there, okay? Well, if there's not very many businesses looking for, workers, and people are being laid off and jobs are being cut, things like that, the unemployment rate is going to continue rising. In fact, by the end of this year, as in the end of 2023, they're projecting it's going to be around 4.5%. By the end of next year, 2024, they're projecting it to be anywhere between about 6.5% and 7%. Do you think that's going to be good? No, it's not going to be good. Nobody wants to see that, except for the Federal Reserve. Why? Because it's going to bring down this economy that is, in their opinion, overheated. It's, too strong, things like this. And again, at the same time, their whole effort behind all of this is to bring down inflation. Again, another key pillar here that I want to point out is inflation, okay? Inflation is still very, very high. Their efforts here over the last nearly 1 year now of aggressively raising interest rates, and when inflation topped out in June of last year at 9.1%, again, it's come down a little bit, but not that much. Inflation is still very, very high, considering they've raised interest rates like 4.5%, okay? They've raised them very, very high here. Well, compared to where they were, I should say. It's still relatively, historically, not that high, but they've raised interest rates very aggressively over the last year or so, and inflation has not come down all that much. The point is, the chairman of the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell, has made it very, very clear he will continue to raise interest rates in an effort to bring down this inflation, okay? So to bring this all full circle, the efforts and what's going on out of the Federal Reserve is going to impact every other aspect of the economy, as in businesses, the job market, inflation, as well as, guess who else? Us. All of us, every single one of us. if we have any kind of debt, I'm not sure about you, I definitely do. I have a lot, okay? And I'm not proud of it, okay? Just saying, okay? Just saying, just being real with you. But again, any of us floating balances on credit cards, like me, having balances on credit cards, that money is getting very expensive to hold on a credit card, right? 20+% interest on an average credit card these days. It is getting very expensive to hold that debt on credit cards, okay? So as a result of that, it's pinching the consumer as well. As in, when we have all this debt and it's getting more and more expensive to pay it off, are we excited to go out and spend more money? Are we excited to go out and get a new loan on a car, get a new loan on a house, get a personal loan, get a line of credit, get a student loan, getting things like this? Do people generally expand during these times? No, we cut back. We start to contract, right? We contract on our spending. We contract on what we're doing. And again, all this is going to play a big role in the economy, okay? So that is why all of this matters. So when it comes down to it, to wrap all this up here really quickly and to kind of make sense of all this, when it comes down to it, we've got to watch all of these moving parts because the actions out of the Federal Reserve is going to impact all of the details that it has laid out for us. As a result of that, when the economy falls into a recession, guess what happens during recessions? Let me point out the details here. The recession of 2000, 2001, stimulus checks. The recession of 2008, 2009, stimulus checks. The recession of 2020, 2021, right? During that time, stimulus checks. They all generate stimulus checks because it's the same thing that they do every single time. The economy falls into a recession or a major economic contraction because it was going too high. The Federal Reserve raises interest rates. Things start to collapse. Same thing happens. And then all of a sudden it hits rock bottom and the Federal Reserve steps in, prints hundreds of billions or trillions of dollars, plows it into the economy, and they distribute stimulus checks to revitalize the economy, okay? So remember the whole point behind stimulus checks. Is it because we're struggling and we need money? No, that's not why. Unfortunately, I think a lot of us wish that were the case. That's not why they print stimulus checks. That is not why they send out stimulus checks. They send out checks because the economy is in a situation where it needs money quickly, okay? It's like, what's a good analogy? I'm not really sure of a good analogy. I was trying to think of something really quickly, didn't think of it, okay? So I apologize, but we'll just have to kind of roll with this. It's like anything out there right now. When something needs something very badly, they, go into, extreme measures to get something quickly, okay? So as a result of that, that's what they do with stimulus checks. The economy needs money fast. We need to stimulate the economy. We need to get businesses up and running. We need to spur employment. We need to spur hiring, things like this. As a result, what do? They give us money, the people. They give, 85% of the population or a huge percentage of the population a bunch of money, as in $1,000, $1,200, $1,400, whatever it happens to be, and they call it, they instruct us to go out and spend it, okay? That's why they don't have any rules on how that money is spent. Now, they kind of frown upon us saving the money. Do you remember that? Over the last couple of years here, as we got checks, they kind of said, oh, wait, this many people are saving it. We don't want you to save it. Please, go spend it. They didn't want us to pay down bills either. They want us to go out into the economy and spend the money. That's why it's called an economic impact payment, because it's impacting the economy in a pretty big way. That's why, okay? They give us the money and they say, hey, everybody, here's $1,200. Here's $1,400. Why don't you go out and buy something? And we say, awesome. Let me go buy some clothes. Let me go buy some shoes. Let me go buy some food. Let me go buy a new refrigerator. Stuff like that. All the different things that we're buying out there. And as a result of that, guess what? Businesses get a huge injection of money really quickly. And boom, off to the races again. Now, business demand increases, inventory needs to be ordered, more supply needs to be manufactured, and guess what? All that happens. We start to hire people because now we need more people to start manning the floors. Well, man and womaning the floors. Again, just a figure of speech. I apologize again. But basically we need to hire manpower. There I go again. Manpower, woman power. We need to hire power, as in human power, to go out and, start being the people on the floor in the stores, to start manufacturing the products, to start delivering the products, right? All kinds of stuff like this to build inventory, okay? That is the big circle that goes around. It goes round and round. Generally, this goes in about a 6 to 8 year cycle. The bull markets, the bear markets, the natural ebb and flow in the economy. It's the business cycle. It's the same thing that happens. Generally, it happens in these long cycles like this, and we are way overdue because this economy is way overheated, and the Federal Reserve is coming down on this interest rates here. They're raising them up aggressively, and again, all of this is going to crush the economy in a huge way. But again, it's a slow process. It takes a lot of time, but when it starts to fall, it falls fast, and look out below, okay? Anyway, Long story short, this is what we need to focus on. This is what we need to continue watching, even though it's not pretty. It's not fun. I know we don't want to sit here and talk about economics all day, but at the end of the day, this is what it's down to. This is why it matters. So at the end of the day, like I said earlier, everything that I've talked about here, it pertains to literally all fixed income beneficiaries. So even though I said SSI at the beginning of this video, I said that because I continue to get SSI, beneficiaries saying, what about SSI? What about SSDI? What about retirees? What about people with disabilities? What about seniors? Again, I totally get it. I want to make dedicated videos, but at the end of the day, this pertains to literally everybody. Not only fixed income beneficiaries, but like a huge, huge percentage of our population who, when they do distribute checks again, will probably be getting them, just like last time. How many people got them? About 282 million people out of the 333 million people in this country. Only about 50 million people did not get checks out of the 333 million people. So again, you can clearly see 85% of our population gets checks. Make sense? Anyway, I'm here for you in any way that I can be. Please make sure to subscribe down below. If you have any further questions, leave those down below as well. Otherwise, I hope this one helps you. Again, subscribe to the channel right down below. Totally free to do so. Share the video with your friends, family, social media, and go back and check out any of the other thousands of videos here on the channel. Until next time, enjoy your day, take care, and I'll catch you again later.